Bayern Munich's Champions League season has come to an end, unfortunately. But with that crash out, we're going to take a positive spin on it. We're going to be ranking every Bayern Champions League season for the 2020s decade. We're going to lock that in, going from the 2019-2020 season all the way up to the present Inter Bayern, of course, how it ending this year. So yeah, we're going to rank those. And Bayern Buddies, the best Bayern duo since robbery, most underrated Bayern duo on the internet, coming at you with a ranking video for Bayern's Champions League seasons. Let's dive into it. Let's see how Bayern Munich fared in the 2020s decade. Was it better than the 2010s decade? I don't think so at all, but let's debate it. Let's see which season comes out on top, if it's not obvious already. Since starting at 2019, of course, we have 6 seasons to cover from 2019 to now. I mean, we've been knocked out a couple times. Maybe actually won it 1 year. Yeah, and actually was successful for 1 year. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's start off with our number 6 spot. The worst Champions League season for Bayern Munich in the 2020s. These are the top 3 that come into our heads for the worst season. I mean, you have Villarreal. That was just a questionable exit, very questionable exit under Julian Nagelsmann. We have Man City, Upamecano crash out. That was also a very annoying game to watch. And then this one, I mean, we were in the semifinal, so it is up for debate, but emotionally, it hurt the most, I would say. Real Madrid, of course. I mean, that was probably the biggest crash out of all of them. Just logically, it's either Villarreal or Man City, one of those 2 seasons. And let's see what Pat thinks about which one he thinks is the worst.
In terms of emotion, I was not even all that upset, if I'm being honest with you, because of how poor Bayern Munich treated Julian Nagelsmann from this season. Because we were flying high this season. Obviously, you know, when we drew to Manchester City and when we sacked Nagelsmann, I already knew we were going to get knocked out. I just simply knew it. I just wanted to at least maybe secure like a double or whatnot. If we kept Nagelsmann and maybe lost against City, then maybe this will be ranked up a little bit higher. But I'm going to go for the 2022-2023 season, essentially, because of how the Bayern board treated Nagelsmann and whatnot, sacking him in during the middle of international break, and obviously those Upamecano mistakes as well. Even at home, I remember the first couple of minutes we kept missing chances and whatnot. I was just like, all right, whatever. You know, it's whatever, it happens. Obviously, that year, in terms of performance-wise, before that Manchester City game was absolutely flawless. I think we maybe only conceded like 2 goals in the whole Champions League that season. But then that's what Julian Nagelsmann, and then we sacked him, got Thomas Tuchel, and yeah. So that's why I'm going to put this at the bottom, you know, with that being said, because of how we treated Nagelsmann and how obviously the Upamecano mistakes and whatnot. Obviously, Manchester City, they won the treble that year, so I think it's obviously, you know, pretty fair to say that that was probably our worst, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at least against Villarreal, I guess you could say it wasn't as bad as losing, 3-4-0 at their stadium. Sure, Villarreal, it's much more disappointing. So it is very up for debate. I don't know if they were that great that season. I can't remember really anything crazy from them that season. So it was just kind of like, what the hell happened, Bayern? Like, what were we doing? Julian Nagelsmann, we always give him this praise, but people tend to forget that he did get cooked against Villarreal somehow, and I don't know what happened. But yeah, I guess we'll stick the City game at the bottom. Definitely was one of the worst games to ever watch, and definitely got cooked by a lot of City fans after that one. So that was not fun to experience. That's at our bottom for the 2020s decade, and let's get into number 5, which maybe it's obvious already, but pretty sure we're sticking Villarreal game in there. That's right there. Obviously, we were debating that. Obviously, Villarreal, I mean, it's just one of those games where you question what Bayern was doing, what was Julian Nagelsmann doing, like what even happened. We just I'm pretty sure, if I remember, it was a couple years ago, so it is a bit hard to remember exactly what happened, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a lot of like low block, and like we're just penetrating them and like trying our hardest to break through that defensive wall, but I don't know what went wrong, but we just couldn't get the job done. We couldn't finish the chances. I don't even remember if we created a lot of chances, to be honest, against Villarreal, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It was like iffy, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I'll let Pat dive into a little more, but just disappointing. City, it wasn't as disappointing because they were an amazing team. Villarreal, very disappointing. 2 different emotions. 2 big crash outs.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go off of Villarreal here because it was Lewandowski's last Bayern Champions League season, and I think that game where we drew 1-1 at home, where we knocked us out evidently, yeah, that was Lewandowski's last ever Champions League game, and I know he scored and I was buzzing, but yeah, it was just really unfortunate to let a Bayern legend go like that, essentially. You know, with that being said, obviously you can say what you want about Lewandowski and how he left the club, of course, but yeah, if we're looking at it statistics wise, that was his last ever Champions League, and we lost to really not that great of a team, if I'm being honest with you. They weren't really anything that special. I genuinely think if we did beat Villarreal, I think if we didn't play Alphonso Davies as center back, which that was probably the reason why we actually conceded. Not just because it's Alphonso Davies, but he's playing out of position and whatnot. We had a lot of injuries, I remember it. And then we let, I think it was Chikwueze so easily, and yeah, we crashed out essentially. But yeah, I remember the first game, the first leg, it was absolutely disgraceful. I don't think we even had that many great chances and whatnot. But yeah, the second leg, I think we did obviously dominate. I forgot who the goalkeeper was, but he made a couple of decent saves and whatnot. I remember at the end, a little bit of controversy here, but I think we should have gotten a penalty. He did like a challenge on Musiala. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we can't be complaining about referees anymore, because if we were complaining about referees, then pretty much every season, then we would be we'd be cooked. But yeah, I would say that would probably be the fifth, because I think we played pretty decently that Champions League season. I think we had Barcelona, we sent them to Europa League. So yeah, Benfica, I think it was good that we played. I think Lewandowski scored a hat-trick. We absolutely dominated them, and they made the Champions League quarterfinals that year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they did. So in terms of football being played, I think we played absolutely great. It's just we just couldn't convert our chances. So that's where I'm gonna put it fifth and whatnot. Obviously because we didn't lose very badly. But yeah, I mean, I think sixth is fair for Manchester City because we lost really badly, and for fifth, I'm gonna put Villarreal for sure.
Yeah, maybe that's just a Spanish curse that Bayern has against the Spanish teams. That's just how it goes. It's the luck of the draw. It's the magic that Spanish teams have against Bayern. But let's get into our fourth spot. I mean, really, only two come to mind. Obviously, the PSG season and then the Real Madrid season. I think those are the two next ones up where we crashed out, and I think those are the two that we're gonna probably put in fourth. Maybe Inter could sneak in there. I don't know. Also that too. Maybe Real Madrid a bit higher just because it was a semi-final. But let's discuss PSG, Inter. I think those are the two we'll try to lock in the fourth spot. But let's see, which one do you think was worse?
I'm gonna go for Inter Milan. I just think that the whole Champions League, our Champions League season, if we're looking into the 3-0 loss against Feyenoord, 4-1 loss against Barcelona, 1-0 loss against Aston Villa, it's just not good enough. I know this was a different type of Champions League with the league format, but we are Bayern Munich. We should not be losing three goals in the Champions League group stage format, whatever you might call it. We shouldn't have lost to Feyenoord. We shouldn't have lost to Aston Villa. Okay, maybe Barcelona, because obviously Barcelona is one of the best teams in the world. Fine. But obviously, I am still crashing out that we lost against them, if I'll be honest. So I know we got knocked out Inter, and it was a little bit of, we have another video kind of explaining it a little bit detail, but just to summarize, it was lack of finishing, injuries, and poor defending and whatnot, just like every other season and whatnot. But yeah, that's why I'm gonna put Inter Milan here at fourth place. Because I feel that, well, Bayern were looking into this game, and not a lot of people were favoriting. I think even a lot of Bayern fans were not even expecting us to go through, mainly because of those injuries and whatnot. So that's why I'm gonna put them at fourth for sure. What do you think, Joey?
So yeah, definitely agree with my Bayern buddy. Champions League group stage, just not good enough. I mean, we didn't even mention the game against Celtic in the playoff. I mean, yeah, that easily puts it at fourth, because that was just such a very poor run. Just a bunch of crash out games from Company's first season, and that definitely slots it in at the fourth spot. Our just play style wasn't there at all. We didn't have enough dominant games, to be honest. And Barcelona, even though they are a really good team, 4-0, it's still disgraceful, no matter what you say. So yeah, let's get into that third spot. I mean, not many seasons left, obviously. And yeah, let's dive into it. We're going to go for Real Madrid, the Real Madrid exit season. That was a crash out season, obviously. Tuchel does his thing, gets us cooked. I mean, he was low-key cooking, we can't lie, even though me too, I'm included. We don't like how Tuchel played at Bayern. I mean, his play style or anything. But did get us to that semi-final. Almost had us in a Champions League final for the second time in the 2020 decade. So, I mean, can we really complain at that? We should have been in the final. That was just a bunch of crash out that game. Classic Madrid dark magic. Just classic stuff from that matchup, as always. And yeah, I mean, but as Pat reminded me, of course, there's a big reason why we're putting it third is just like the games before the Real Madrid match. I mean, there's a number of games where Bayern did not play their best. It was an interesting route to the semifinal, even a very lucky one, if we're going to be completely honest. And yeah,
so this is third. Obviously, in terms of where we finished, that's why we're putting it third. Essentially, we didn't play the greatest football, but at least we made it furthest. Besides the 2020 run, of course, that year, was really unfortunate. All the years except for the Champions League winning season are all really, dog shit. Obviously, I think everyone is going to have a little bit of a mix of seasons and whatnot. I think everyone's, like, in terms of being a fan's perspective is. So let us know in the comments down below which one do you think, of course. But with that being said, I'm going to put third against Real Madrid. We didn't play the greatest football. We did beat Arsenal, and, Arsenal pretty much had the same exact team they have this year, and obviously we saw how well they're performing. So, absolutely fantastic and whatnot. I think they were just missing Mikel Merino, of course. They had Declan Rice, and, they had all those great players and whatnot. And, their center backs weren't been injured too. Saliba and Gabriel, and we actually did beat them. So, you know, fair play to Thomas Tuchel. He's a knockout type of coach, if we're going to be completely honest here. So that's why we did semi-decently. But yeah, I mean, I do think that we did get robbed against Real Madrid. I'm going to say it. You can hate watch me in the comments below, Madristas, whatever. You don't call it offside there at all. If you're going to call it offside right there for De Ligt, then you're going to call it offside for Joselu. Because it was the same exact scenario. It's just they let Joselu play it on, but they didn't let De Ligt play on. Say what you want. Rudiger stopped and whatnot. Don't care. You play until the whistle, no matter what. You know, with that being said, so I'm crashing out because of that. And I genuinely think if we made it past Real Madrid that year, we would have won the Champions League. I think, you know, I know we lost to Dortmund that year at home, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely think we would have won it. And, you know, for Wembley as well, it would have been absolutely fantastic to see that. But yeah, we were this close into a Champions League final and this close into a 7th Champions League. I know, I remember when Davies scored that banger, I thought, a lot of Bayern fans probably thought that as well. So that's why I'm going to put it third. You know, with that being said, but yeah, I know all Bayern fans, this whole list is going to be a little bit of a mixed matchup and whatnot, but I think we all can agree what's number one for sure. With that being said, but yeah, that is third place. Real Madrid, that the 2023-2024 season. Those purple jerseys, crash out.
Number 2, PSG, Hansi Flick's last season. Maybe that's why it was a pretty good season, to be honest. Even though we did crash out in the quarterfinals, it wasn't really due to his fault, I would say, at all. And yeah, I mean, even the group stage, I think it was a good route. I mean, it wasn't that far of a route to judge, but I think getting to the quarterfinals and just what we did against PSG in those legs, I think it went better than a lot of people expected. And I think due to the injuries and whatnot and everything, I mean, PSG, sure, they got their revenge and all that, whatever, from the Champions League final, let's say. But yeah, I mean, it didn't really matter much in the end because they didn't do much with it, which was amazing to see, of course. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know we didn't make it to the semifinal, but I just think the play style and the group stage and everything before it really just cemented it as our second best Champions League season, which, of course, it happens under Hansi Flick, right? No other coach has been able to recreate that, and that's enough said about Hansi Flick, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree, obviously. Second place PSG. That game was a bit of a crash out game because we had, like, I remember it was snowing in Munich that game. It was the first leg. We dominated them. That's where the famous video of, like, Kimmich throwing his, like, jersey across the locker room, I think it was from that game. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we had like 35 chances, 35 shots essentially, and we couldn't put it in the back of the net. And we were missing the best player in the world that time, Lewandowski. If he played, I think we would have won that Champions League easily because we would have played Manchester City. That game would have been tough for sure, but I think we would have progressed through and then we would have beaten Chelsea. That's what I think what would have happened. Obviously, you know, you guys can go down in the comments, hate watch me, whatever you want to do, right? But yeah, obviously our playing style there was good. I remember beating Atletico Madrid 4-0 and it was just like, damn, like that was really nice to see. Obviously destroying Barcelona 8-2 in August and winning against Atletico Madrid 4-0, especially since they won the league that year as well. It was absolutely fantastic. Our playing style was good. You know, we beat Lazio 4-1 away. Jamal Musiala got his first knockout goal. You know, I just think if Lewandowski didn't get injured against Andorra, we would have had it all for sure. But yeah, I mean, that season was a bit of a crash out season because of obviously COVID. Obviously, in terms of that year, I think we played really great football, especially since for what we had. The signings that year was absolutely terrible, but we'll go into a little bit. We'll probably have a video of that soon because I think that's where the downfall began for sure. That season was a bit of a crash out because of Brazo and Flick and whatnot, but in terms of playing style, in terms of how well we did, in terms of what could have been, I would rate that the second. I think we would have won the Champions League easily. We would be so close into a 3-peat for sure if it wasn't for injuries and whatnot. But yeah, I'm gonna put that there. Lewandowski, the best player in the world at that time, played. We would have had it, no doubt.
And then, I mean, what comes to no surprise since the beginning of the video, number one, obviously when we won it all. It feels so long ago now. Feels like a century ago at this point that we won it all and had Hansi Flick and prime Gnabry and prime Coleman, if you want, Perisic, Coutinho, all those loan merchants that we did that the board actually cooked up. Yeah. Actually cooked up. And yeah, that was kind of crazy to see. Coutinho has a Champions League medal. That's just crazy to think about at that time. Yeah, Perisic, I mean, Perisic is class, so it's a little different. But yeah, it's just insane to see. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to repeat a bunch of stuff we know that season, how great it was. One of the best, if not the best, Bayern Champions League seasons of all time. I think the only thing that in Champions League history that can match it is the 3-peat back in the 70s. I mean, I think that's the only other thing that comes close to that season, of course. And it's Hansi Flick just cooked. I mean, I don't know what that man's brain is cooking or what coaching he has, but him with Barca, him with us, him with Germany, of course, just been an insane thing to see with us. And yeah, I can't say enough about that. He was just cooking, man. I mean, I have no words to say. I'm speechless.
I don't know what this Frost's talking about. He wasn't really that great for Germany, but listen, obviously, just to agree with the Bayern. Oh, the assistant. If we're talking about assistant, yeah, of course, for sure. Yeah. But obviously, when he was coach for Germany, it was absolutely terrible. But yeah, obviously, that year was absolutely fantastic. I know COVID kind of messed it up, and I definitely do think that COVID played a huge part. Because if I remember correctly, I think Lewandowski got injured against Chelsea before COVID happened, before the lockdown even happened. So if we didn't have him, who knows what would have happened for sure. But yeah, destroying Chelsea, destroying Spurs. I know it was Niko Kovac, but yeah, whatever, right? We destroyed Spurs, you know, had to destroy pretty much every team that we saw on the way. Lyon, Barcelona. I think PSG was a little bit of a... PSG was probably our toughest team, obviously. I think Neuer had to come in clutch and whatnot. But yeah, that Champions League will always have a special place in my heart. I remember going crazy. Absolutely, you know, I wish the fans were there, of course. I think it would have been definitely a lot better. But yeah, I think obviously COVID played a huge part, and obviously not in football, but also in the world and whatnot. But if we think of COVID, we're going to think of Bayern Munich. So I'll take that at the end of the day. But yeah, obviously that year we won the Champions League, and you know, fast forward 5 years, nothing has been recreated, and it's been really poor and whatnot. And we used to be a team where everyone feared us back in 2020, and now not a lot of people are just like, okay, it's Bayern Munich, of course, a good team and whatnot, but they're not scared of facing us. So but we need to do something this summer. I think this video is a perfect example on what we need to do, because we cannot be having quarterfinal finishes if we're going to be completely honest. So yeah, rank us what you think down in the comments down below.
Yeah, let's hear your rankings down below, of course. Yeah, that's our final ranking. I mean, let's just list it out. So yeah, there's our ranking. At 6, we have our Man City exit. Then after that, we have our Villarreal disaster class, disappointing season. Then we have this season in 4th, Inter Milan, another big crash out. 3rd, we had Madrid, that just heartbreaking season. And then 2nd, we had PSG. That was not too bad of a season, just Lewandowski locked in, we would have won. Then of course at number 1, had our best season in the 2020 decade, of course, COVID door. But yeah, that's our ranking for the 2020 Champions League. With our exit, we want to look back at some better memories, not some great memories. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and lock in.